If you're appointed as a guardian or an administrator, it's very important that you support someone in making the decision for themselves. So there might be things that you can do to help them understand the decision needed to be made, like break it down into dot points of each part of the decision. It might be simple things like ensuring that their hearing aid has batteries or that they have their glasses. Or if their first language isn't English, it might be a good idea to get an interpreter so that you know that they really understand the decision. You'll know that they understand it if they can explain their decision back to you, and then you'll know they've processed the information. Katie had always been very close to her father, Eric. In fact, they'd gone into the same line of work together, and it was actually Katie who recognised that there may be something happening and recommended he seek medical advice. Eric was diagnosed with dementia, and he appointed Katie as enduring power of attorney so that she could make decisions for him as his condition progressed. Eric's condition did progress, and it came a time where Katie and Eric had to talk about Eric going into a residential care facility. Katie knew that Eric was most lucid after lunch. She found that in the mornings and the afternoons he'd get quite confused and then he'd get quite agitated, and she herself found it a bit hard to manage even her own behaviour in response to this. So she scheduled all the visits to the residential care places after lunch. In fact, they even had lunch at a couple of them. Katie took photos of Eric and made lots of notes. She sat Eric down again after lunch when she knew he'd be most calm. She made sure there were no distractions and that Eric could really focus on what she was saying, and she talked him through the different options. Katie's dilemma was that Eric had always said he wanted to be somewhere where there was a garden, and one of the residential care places had a lovely garden, but it was further away. So Katie had to explain that if Eric went there, she wouldn't be able to visit as often as she would like. They discussed it at length, and Eric thought about it. And Eric acknowledged that sadly a time would probably come when he wouldn't know that Katie had even come and visited, so it was still a priority for him to go where the garden was because he knew that would bring him joy. So Eric went to the residential care place with the garden, and Katie visited him as often as she could. What's lovely about that story is that Eric recognised as soon as he had his diagnosis that it was important to put things in place. He'd appointed Katie as power of attorney so that she could support him in making decisions. And Katie really did support him by taking the photos, by scheduling the appointments at the right time of day, and by ensuring that he understood his options. She gave Eric the best chance of making that decision, even though his dementia had progressed.
If you want to appoint someone to make decisions for you, if a time comes that you are unable to, then you can make an enduring power of attorney. An enduring power of attorney is a legal document that appoints someone to make decisions on your behalf. You can only make an enduring power of attorney while you still have the capacity to make decisions. It should be someone you trust, who understands what is important to you, and is willing and able to act on your wishes as far as possible. You could talk to a lawyer about making an enduring power of attorney. You can also visit the website of the Office of the Public Advocate for guidance. An enduring power of attorney can be changed or revoked at any time, as long as you still have that decision-making capacity. Seniors Rights Victoria encourages you to talk to those close to you about what's important while you can.